Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Christian Paul speaking. Alright? This following episode here contains graphic content that may not be suitable for definitely children and some other viewers involved, which could involve graphic language, visual graphic content, and or both. Viewer discretion is advised.
80% of men are deemed unattractive by women online, on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, seeking arrangements, whatever the on dating
top
things.
10% of men on Tinder are getting 63% of the right swipes, and I believe the top 20% were getting it's like something like a 78 or 80% of the right swipes. The top 20% were getting 80% of the right swipes on Tinder.
The mistake is that we call this the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule, right? So the mistake is to think is that 20% of guys are fucking 80% of the women. No, that's not it, dumbass. 100% of women want to get with the top 20% of guys. That leaves 80% of guys who are the invisible ones, who are the sandwich artists, women are completely oblivious to because they are unattractive. They are not, maybe he'll do. They are, I wouldn't even recognize his existence, right?
Yeah.
Juicy! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, proud lame, certified beta male simp mangina, whatever it is with no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, is up in the building. Alright? And I would like to go deep into the Pareto principle, ladies and manly gentlemen. Based on some details in which certain statistics that, the Red Kill keeps bringing up, saying 80% of women mainly fuck 20% of the guys, or they actually made some claims from according to Rollo saying that 100% of women want to actually get with 20% of the guys, based on what really goes on. Even that's a flawed statement due to the fact that if you had 100% with around 160 million women in America. Also take note, some women could be lesbians, some women could be atheists, whatever part of the alphabet community they could be. So obviously like that 100% is like literally clearly out the window, right? But I want to dig deep into some deep statistics when it comes to dating sites and when it comes to performances in certain matches to try and debunk at least some of the stuff they actually keep bringing, and to actually add more evidence into what Fresh and Fit has presented towards Kyle and Jackie O, when Kyle and Jackie O, one of the Australian talk show hosts, actually invited Fresh and Fit to actually come to their podcast, actually trying to spew some of the ills when it comes with online dating and dating sites. And Myron basically presented the only grab they had when it came to OkCupid, but not from other sites like Tinder or Match.com or eHarmony, BlackLoveFlash.com, however it may be. So many sites all the way down the line. So many dating apps that you're really trying to point up with as well that they hadn't really dug thoroughly due diligence on, or actually thoroughly dug research on here. And we are going to go through an article together that details about the statistics when it comes to dating sites and when it comes to finding successful relationships, basically on the research they have that's actually shown where independent data scientists and other data scientists that work for those dating sites mainly do they due diligence on actually whether or not who's in successful relationships and who's not successful relationships, who's made with who, and the list goes on and on and on. So let's dig right into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Men are territorial with their women. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
You don't own us in a relationship, so we can post what we want. If you have an insecurity with that, that's on you.
Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish, but every time I let you finish...
You're literally cutting me off right now.
Yeah, I know. Okay, go. Go.
I'm explaining to you how men view relationships. You might not like it. It might hurt your feelings. You might say, I'm not a piece of property or whatever, but with all due respect, your feelings. This is
your feelings. I don't care about your feelings either. You're actually misogynistic and egotistical, and it's a kind of a concern, the way you view relationships, like you have ownership of women.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture, a screenshot from a clip of Kyle and Jackie O, the radio station, basically talking about fresh and fit when it comes to relationships in the dating market and fresh and fit's theory with modern women's behavior, right? So we have the number of messages received versus recipients' attractiveness. I honestly don't know when the graph took place and how many people partook in OkCupid, right? And this is from OkCupid. They didn't discount the number of members. They didn't discount the sample size. It's actually shown. All you're seeing is a range from least attractive to most attractive, and the message multiply basically going on. And we know the chart that's up in the dark green is the female recipients, and the teal color graph is basically the male recipients. You see here, if you look at the curves that are going up, you basically see as the woman is more attractive, the message basically multiplies exponentially as you see up in the curve, whereas male recipients, the more attractive, the slower the exponential curve mainly gets. But it doesn't equate to successful relationships. It basically looks at attraction at the moment, but doesn't fully equate to any successful relationships or marriage, and it doesn't show an actual sample size of how many people are currently OkCupid and when this graph took place. This is something really key, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't even know where to begin with the comment. Santa and Mrs. Claus tag teaming like it was WWF Raw. Next one, cooked his ass in the 11 secret herbs and spices. That's referring to you. I need this podcast, please and thank you. I need to watch Aussie mum and dad yell at more people. Kyle and Jackie O going viral for being morally correct is the biggest plot twist of the 21st century.
That's so true.
We stand the Gramps. That's you.
Grandpa. Why do you get so many grandpa comments?
There's a lot of
Gramps grandpa?
Yeah, Gramps.
Oh, shit. I'll take it as a win, but I'm a bit dodge on it.
I swear to God, if this old man doesn't get a raise...
I agree. It's about time I was paid appropriately for this position. They must think I'm skint. That's lovely. I like that.
So since this audio got popular, I wanted to do some research. So I'm sure we've all seen this. I'm not sure if everyone has seen the comparison in data to women, but I was looking up this and I came across this. So it's basically the same thing. This SMV stands for sexual market value. And if you can't read that, the age starts at 15. Now I'm going to preface this by saying that this chart in particular came from a site called The Rational Mail, and it seems to be like a pickup artist website, but it was all over Google when I was looking this up. The Rational Mail was created by this guy. This is his name. I don't want to butcher it. And from my understanding, he created the whole sexual market value theory. But this is used by a lot of male pickup artists, but not for the same reason that you would think. So a lot of pickup artists use this data portrayed as tortoise and the hare narrative, that basically this is because men just age with grace, and that it's just simple biology that men would go for younger women. These pickup artists are using this data to say shit like this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an article that took place on September 25th, 2019, written by Eva Maria Locustanu, basically who is a fellow data scientist that wrote Data and Dating, from eHarmony to Tinder and further, right? So it's various data science and how data scientists were able to acquire data based on successful relationships and also mating strategies. So let's try and dig deep into this article, which will take a while, right? I'm not going to read all of this article that's here. You definitely want to do it through the medium.com if you choose to do it. I want to try and go through some key analytics here. Let's try and go check with the intro together, which you understand they're using with big data, and we know data is mainly used. And she says as data science is way more used nowadays. We will reflect upon a certain case about eHarmony in the Super Crunchers book, in which the case is reflected and compared critically with recent scientific literature. And first we're going to give the brief summary of the case, and then we'll go over the recent literature and critically evaluate those cases. Now, Eva talks about the eHarmony case. Eva Maria talks about the eHarmony case, in which Ayers, Ian Ayers, who actually wrote the book, Supercrummers, basically they use hidden variables to find compatible partners. Neil Clark Warren, who founded eHarmony at the time, based the business in his late 1990 study of more than 5,000 married couples, in which he patented a predictive model, which was an aggressive model based on 29 variables, allegedly best in knowing the perfect relationship variables on emotional temperament, social style, cognitive node, and relationship skills. Now, what surprises the author is how eHarmony dares select the predictors in the form of hidden variables, in other words, factors that their own customers weren't aware of. As such, it may just happen the algorithm will match you with someone you would have never imagined you liked. This effect is exacerbated but also by the large volume of input data. The customers would have to fill out a 436 question form upon subscription and the very secret nature of their predictive model.
Do you see?
Compare this to eHarmony, using a different paradigm in finding couples. And again, as I want to try and give a sign note here, yes, Fresh and Fit actually posted the OkCupid model based on the graph that deals with who's the most attractive and who's the least attractive. But each dating site has their own metric of actually finding successful relationships and actually rating who's more attractive and who's less attracted. It's not fully linear between dating sites and dating apps. Now let's continue, right? Instead of matching with the most similar partner, PerfectMatch.com and True.com use compatibility-based methods. PerfectMatch.com, the former is based method on the Myers-Briggs personality test, which consists of labeling each individual onto one of 16 personality types, and with a relatively long record of testing and scoring popularity, have also allowed for historical records that state which personality type works best with which. The latter calculates instead of the likelihood you'll get along with someone else, their model being based on 99 variables. So which one is better? Similarly, compatibility-based matching, the author considers the data should be able to adjudicate where similar compatible people make the best couples. Who knows? It's not thoroughly decided. And again, the article took place in 2019. And eHarmony has their own data that actually dug up, in which they claim the people that actually put that particular subway are significantly happier than any couple have met otherwise, in which no backup has been found for the claim except for the Clark and Snow that's written by eHarmony and kept hidden. Right? The fact does not stop us from being pleased that although the best paradigm is unknown, Dave Sears is competing to find out whether the algorithm got it right as well, which is validated in other words, beyond just on their matching algorithm. Indeed, for eHarmony, the raw data in the algorithm output does not exclusively determine the final couple decision. Apparently, even though the extensive questionnaire indicates a homosexual partner preference, eHarmony refuses to match same-sex couples. Oh, there we go. We got I forgot the word. You guys can, man, I forgot what the word was. Give me 1 second. We got some statistical noise, right? Unlike the comparators, eHarmony insists on matching couples based on similarity, and yet ironically when it comes to gender, opposites attract. Consequently, eHarmony is willing to facilitate only some types of legal marriage regardless of what the algorithm says. In terms of race, however, the platform does allow customers to indicate their preference, and the algorithm is technically private. eHarmony puts the normative finger on the scale of favor serving clients. And then we see the questions that are shown here. And they talk about introducing the ways. Now they quote that before the advanced technology is known today. You see the print media that's there. They have all these to run themselves using ads in local newspapers. It was only in the second half of the 20th, Harvard student Septar and Von Moore used a questionnaire in IBM 14 on one of the match students based on the similarities to social experiment, which is named the Operation Match, and required basically 3 shows for participant in. This took place in 1966. And now you have the rise of the internet that came by. Kiss.com becomes the first modern day website in 1994, followed by Match.com in 1995, in which an additional dating website usually includes an entry questionnaire, a mathematical matching algorithm, and requires customers to pay a fee in order to make use of the service. As we know, eHarmony was in fact the first search engine website includes the algorithm to record matching and the copy in our case file, and what's actually shown within down below. Now they have the method that says for identifying people who are likely to have a successful relationship. And you see, if I scroll this down below, this is basically the chart and the algorithm that's basically done through eHarmony, right? And they describe the whole platform and how they have this stuff done, right? And for more information regards to this whole eHarmony system, you can definitely check on their site below. Let me try to actually scroll down a bit. And all these other rival spots that they have. Give me 1 second. So they have another algorithm that deals with global algorithms for online matchmaking that's used via various sites outside of eHarmony, perfectmatch.com being one of them, for example. And they have a sex online dating website as well that FreshFit didn't actually list out. What's the data set consists of 194,439 users and 11,767,448 ratings of profiles. Basically rating attractiveness that's actually shown. And what's the data set is going to be sparse and wildly popular data set for movie lengths and gesture with a sparsity of 0.03. And what's the largest amounts of entries and what's the algorithms and benchmarks. They basically use the negative mean square error, MSE basically as a metric, NMAE being negative mean average error, like the square error, whatever it may be. Cross validation all but one, given random X and production validations. In which they've actually shown the lowest MAE, in which they actually produced it. Now you factor in Tinder, right? Actually, let me not get too sped up here. Bruvasi and Petrusek was the office who actually did the model. They conducted the user experiment to investigate how users receive those algorithms. Was random mean user algorithm retested. 2 list recommendations were shown to use originating from 2 algorithms, and between them, user outperformed other algorithms. And the mean algorithm, however, performed surprisingly well, in which the random algorithm performed expectedly poorly, and basically with the work that collaborated filtering algorithms like user or item are favorable options for online matchmaking, in which those algorithms outperform commonly used mean algorithm employed by dating websites and should be considered. And the other indication the use collaborative filtering methods is how users perceive these presented algorithms, in which the acceptance of collaborative filtering was the highest for user. Now you add Tinder to the mix, right? And you have Trump tip, random Boston Library, sets a line upon the question why emerging adults use Tinder, and they use the survey among emerging adults to investigate, so they have their own sample size as well. And what's at the time, Tinder is basically brand new, where they use personal information of an individual's Facebook account to create matches. It's just like with some deep personal stuff based on their algorithms. Now, previous research has stated users of dating websites often have a diverse set of motivations. Now, yeah, it's unclear what kind of reasons emerging adults have for apps like Tinder, right? So it's still unknown, it's still gray. And other literature shows that motivations for dating websites can be shared across platforms, and we know the different kind of motivation that's there. Physical gratification, attractiveness, social gratification, status, and psychological gratification as well. And once they fall under the users in gratification theory can explain why adolescents are using Tinder. So the chart that FreshFit showed earlier for OkCupid, the similar could be said for OkCupid, even though we don't really fully know the thorough statistics on the matches and who rates who attractive on Tinder, based on what's being shown on when did it take place and how big the sample size is. That is still unknown. I can't actually jump the gun too fast. Now, the main goal of the study is to identify similar motivation emerging adults who use Tinder, in which they have a survey distributed among the network of students who use a social media account distributed. 266 people participated in the study, and which was designed to gain insights into different categories of use and gratification theory, right? And study finds that emerging adults often use Tinder for excitement and because of novelty yapped, and Tinder is more often used to establish a relationship or then define like a sexual encounter. Study also found that overall gender and age can account for differences among the motivations. Thus, motivations usually act can change when the user gets older. and it can vary from person as they grow older together, depending on person to person. Finds and says yes, the outcomes of new technologies like Tinder will be highly related to the goals of the users, which has been shown. It has been the first one that shows that it should not be seen as a hookup app, but as a tool that is able to satisfy different kind of needs among emerging adults. Now, David and Canberra, around 2016, scrutinized the swipe feature of the dating application Tinder, in which they describe firstly socio-technical dynamics when users navigate the user interface on Tinder, and the influence of the swipe feature, and also secondly, the office investigate how to swipe their swipes intimacy of online dating, in which Tinder is a location-based real-time dating application. A major user interface element of Tinder is the swipe feature. Users see pictures of other individuals and with simple swipe can either like or dislike the other person. That's based on attractiveness. If both users like each other, they have a match and can enter a private chat. In their article, the two authors discuss how the swipe feature Tinder leads to screen-related intimacy, and they chose the term because of the way users interact with the swipe has implications to their behavior, in which the feature allows for mediatization and depersonalization due to swipe pace, in which the user is not only presented with images such that a deeper understanding of the other does not occur. It's noted that an algorithm dictates the swipe logic such that users are forced to have profiles that catch attention in various ways, such as being humorous or witty, and which lack information promotes transcendence over being honest and faithful to oneself to be successful at the game. Nevertheless, it remains superficial, right? Which through the swipe pace may be used to waste time, and attribute behavior to immersive mobile culture, in which the touching of a mobile device screen has become an essential cultural habit for users. Users reach around Tinder as a dating app reaffirms the time-wasted behavior, and which is less so considered as a dating app, but rather a mattifying one-night stands. Users call Tinder beauty contest plus messaging, or McDonald's for sex. Other articles also mention terms like this, for example, in Finkel, EJ in 2012, and Spritzes and Summer, Fandom Boss and Leinenberg, where they call Tinder a hookup app and contrast the case file. Tinder displays a very different view towards dating than introduced by eHarmony, in which eHarmony's goal is to match partners based on how complementary and how well they fit together, and eventually lead couples to successful marriages, right? And we understand eHarmony's situation and their aggression models, and literally the whole 9 yards. And features such as swipes, likes, and dislikes, possible analysis profiles may be found in Tinder's algorithm. And because it's real time, common feelings for couples may be insignificant at the time. Advancement in data science methodology make eHarmony seem very outdated from a technical point of view, in which their take on matching couples for longevity and eventual marriage seems archaic in today's fast-paced society. So modeling who mates with who and who picks who is way more complex than Roll actually put out there. Now we follow up with the whole ordeal, right? They deal with eHarmony's promotions and the algorithms behind the dating services actually shown, which we're actually trying to use all this stuff based on eHarmony's points of view. And we see what eHarmony does and how to use their stuff. Now, modern features where they show several more online services taking up, mainly Tinder, but also Bumble, Hints, and Facebook dating, right? And the most significant difference in eHarmony's use of TV's data to trap potential partners nearby, no less location-based real-time dating, and the distance between from the swipe feature in Tinder. And as you said, of course, you can profile on Hints, or even formalize sense of humor, even incorporate Life 5 or Humor, Laugh Life, or one more by using alias rate so funny bees to set up their profile. Now, dating app Tinder is found to be one of the most popular dating tools. Number one most downloaded in the category of lifestyle in America. Which we see that. More traditional websites like eHarmony or Match.com try to connect people based upon similarity, and Tinder, however, uses geolocation and a swiping system. Tinder matches are made with sparse criteria, namely location, looks, and availability. Psychologically, Tinder is constructed in a way to encourage rapid swiping behavior, in which a reward can happen whatever you swipe, but you don't know which swipe. And what Tinder uses a variable ratio reward schedule meaning the two potential matches we randomly spread among the other matches, with the same kind of awards that is used for slot machine games and video games. Now, so therefore, it can be seen as a game for a lot of people, right? It can basically addictive in the way how it runs. Now, Tinder is often used for short-term sexual relations. Say shows that the most common motivation using Tinder is actually finding love. Yet Tinder users still experience more frustration about their romantic encounter than users of traditional dating websites. Clearly, data about Tinder use can give lots of insights in human dating behavior, and with some people saying that Tinder caused the dating apocalypse, yet the paper makes clear there's no clear difference in the sexual behavior of people using Tinder and users of traditional dating websites. And what's the main difference here between Tinder and other more traditional dating websites is that the swipe mechanism can be regarded as a game and even can be addictive. Now, when it comes to Facebook dating, they got the dating app that's shown behind the inventor since it's been finding data, pictures, updates for years, being Facebook user. That app will be more able to recommend matches that are presumably more authentic than the standard swiping apps, and which Meta claims to have. And you got the secret quest list, and they have all these sources below, right? And now you got all these stuff that you have with the mirrors that's shown that deals with a futuristic version of dating. We already know about all the fictional stuff where you got all the sponsors as well. Now, we got discussion and some critique when it comes to this. Now, OkCupid claims they don't claim to evaluate you perfectly, but they want to find someone who claims to fulfill your claims requirements exactly, which they make some points. And now we got the Myers-Briggs mainly the bunks, right? There's always more than meets the eye. Now you got competitive eHarmony2.com uses the Myers-Briggs personality test in order to categorize its customers in the right box. 1 of 16 typologies based on binary classifications of all 4 traits to use later in the algorithm. Yet Myers-Briggs itself has been effectively debunked, and the reason behind the test stems from Jungian psychology. Theories in the beginning of the 20th century more in the domain of hunters and now empirically tested. Moreover, the namesakes Catherine Briggs and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers never had a formal training in psychology. There were several analyses showing that the test does not accurately predict career choice, and more than 50% of users had different results on a second take, even as the second test is not as early as 5 weeks later. And it's been widely discredited by psychologists. CPP, the company that published the test, had 3 psychologists on a board. None of them have used the test in any publications, right? That's basically what it was. That classification into types nevertheless remains one of the most popular psychology tests used today. Ironically, allegedly 89 out of Fortune 100 companies along with 200 U.S. federal agencies, including the CIA, State Department, and military administer Myers-Briggs tests to better training employees. And with the combination of excellent marks from the CPP and the feel-good, vague enough descriptions of the types, known as a forward effect, also curing astrology and fortune telling, explains continuing popularity in business. Indeed, accurately evaluating an individual is a hard business, especially when to use the Myers-Briggs like 2.com, and that's just one part of the story. Even under the assumption you could perfectly describe an individual in terms of personality, then assessing compatibility is a different, arguably even more complex story. As more variables come into play, the scientific backing of compatibility should therefore be even stronger. And now you got the supercrunchers critique. Once you got the data science experience. The simplification that I has made is a fair one. Not mentioning the exact procedure as described in part 4.1 of this article, the summary of the eHarmony patent is a good choice to rent this book for extending over 1,000 pages. And it seems that he fails to mention the construction factors of all the variables starting from the survey filled out by the candidates of the program. And what patent eHarmony describes as a method of principal component analysis, PCA, method that data scientists mainly use, based on the model that we mainly use to predict. It seems quite important for the reader to understand that the matches by eHarmony are not made just by using 29 of most associated kind of attributes, but made by compiling away more variables. For example, answers to survey questions into 29 very abstract and most associated kind of factors. Also, instances affect the eye is mentioned predicting couple compatibility. We think that he's missing an important point here. People do not get matched based on compatibility. They get matched on relationship satisfaction. How satisfied they are in any relationship is then assumed by eHarmony, in this case heirs, that this means people are compatible, by which they claim. And this brings to a more significant problem, as Ferran, Lange, and Refo claim eHarmony's scientific basis is not referenced in detail, and a copy of the full analysis and results are not posted for customers nor otherwise offered to the public for evaluation. And you see them explain their claims in full detail here. And it's very questionable in its experimental design and used statistical techniques, right? And they claim that eHarmony does not match on similarities that they suggest. eHarmony covers some more that's similar in the control group, and which meant that this study has its deficiencies, but to us it goes over too quickly and weighs it away as good intentions while it might be a way to deceive eHarmony customers. Maneuvering this field of research is difficult, however, as there are several online matchmakers that publish their own research supporting their own claims, right? The paper by Huron Lines and Renfro is based on research conducted by True.com, and Huron and Renfro both work for True.com, which shows that every claim in these papers should be considered with a skeptical mindset that's a bit biased, and we believe in general iron areas managed to give the readers relatively objective and accurate insight into online matchmaking super crunching competition. And we know, they didn't do any thorough research or weren't able to get access to the article that they have. Therefore, you can't be able to do the evaluation themselves. Now, they show the timeline of ideas and everything. We don't really know that much. And matching algorithms do have the reverse engineering as well. And we know this is the end of the article.
On this week's episode of The Audacity, Quentin Quarantino posted this today. This man on Twitter wrote, "This is called art. This is the legacy and heritage of the West. This is what men of the West sacrifice, fight, and die for. This is victory." Now, all of this alone is pretty problematic on a few levels, but let's keep going. Because you guessed it, the audacity doesn't stop there. Of course, another man had to chime in, and he said, "Is there an example of a female sculptor who committed herself to the same level of detail that a male does with a woman?" Ivan replies, "None that come to mind. That sculpture is an act of worship before heaven, and it shows." Ivan clearly thinks he's some leading character in a Lord of the Rings movie, but let's move on. A woman replied, "The sculptor is a Chinese woman, you dork-ass losers. Has a woman ever made something as detailed as a man? Has she ever..."
So what's the moral of the story that we can mainly learn from ladies and mainly gentlemen? Right? Mainly gentlemen, because I want to try and put the focus on y'all for a bit. Please practice proper discernment, and please make sure you have your sources verified and claims verified to make sure that your guru that you have up in there is actually speaking legitimate facts and he has actual sources to really back up his claim on when the data took place and how much people actually partook in the data, so that you'll be able to have a proper source of information to make in order to generate your own system on whether or not you want to try and do the whole dating thing, relationship thing. And again, I'm not no game guru. I'm not here to give out pamphlets on like what you should be doing to women and all this other stuff. No, I'm just saying make sure you have like the right set of info so you don't really get trapped in these streets and get deceived by a lot of grifters and gurus and charlatans out there. You know what I'm saying? The Pareto principle that Rollo Tomasi is mainly talking about, even though it has some truth to it, it's mainly flawed. And also take note, every single dating app, every single dating website computes information and gets statistics based on actually finding attractiveness and mates very differently. So just because you see like one graph that's shown through OkCupid in which like basically the person's rated on attractiveness doesn't fully equate to all the others actually being the same throughout. If there's actually no data presented, or if the data is actually much more complicated and deeper than it actually portrays, then it could be a lot more than meets the eye, and it could be way too early to call, right? With eHarmony, Match.com, like the old school dating apps, their algorithms are different compared with Tinder, Match.com, and possibly Facebook dating. Please take note of that as well when it comes to actually digging these types of data and what types of other variables or other hidden variables that can come along with it, and how does it change over time depending on the nature of the person, depending on the mindset of the person as he or she grows older. Okay, those are the specifics that you have to actually take into account when digging these types of research, when digging into this types of dating, right? So the best way to handle type of stuff in regards to some stuff like this is stop worrying about what other people are doing. Stop worrying about all these crazy narratives of high value this, high value that. modern men this, modern women this, passport bros, red pill, blue pill, black pill, all the other fucking nonsense you see up here. Be the best that you can be, and don't be settling, don't be stagnant. Do whatever you can as you're trying to improve academically, financially, socially, and get better all these things, and practice discretion, practice morals, be respectful, be moral, be honorable, literally those whole things. And if a woman actually likes that, if a woman likes for that and knows who you really are and all those morals, and she sees that you're actually ambitious and high-focused and everything, she'd be more than willing to take you on, regardless of what status you're in. If not, oh well, let her be. Not really your problem. You know, you wish her well, do whatever you can is best at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's basically about it. Whether or not you want to see waste of the finish line or she comes by and builds alongside with you, whatever finish line it is, once you actually meet, you're going to be starting evolving together once you're together, right? And I'll say this, right? If a lot of women basically choose the finish line, that's mainly flexing in them, and they want to try and see, or they want to actually try and bathe in all of the results you mainly have. And they can even try and do all these things for a total moment, ulterior motives, not really for so looking into your character. They basically mainly want the lifestyle rather than character, in my personal opinion. But that's neither here nor there. Do the best you can be, create your own system, but make sure you get it from legitimate sources. Make sure you get it from like the right credible sources. And make sure you don't think you get deceived by all these other charlatans that are out there. Gone.